Hey guys, welcome to this video. In this one, we're going to look at financial maths, so starting chapter 11, and looking at salary and wages, and whether you have a part-time job or not. Hopefully, you are not getting ripped off, or you are happy with what you're getting paid. And then at the same time, look, if you are the consumer and then you need to pay someone, that you are aware of how those rates actually get calculated. So just some things that I want you to be familiar with. Okay, you should know what a salary is. A salary is, I guess, how much people get paid per year. So it's an annual figure of payment. Okay, the next thing is what a wage is. So a wage is going to be your hourly figure, okay, or your hourly rate. So how much you get paid per hour is going to be your wage. So then your rate is the next term, is I guess the ratio of payment. Now, some people may not get paid per hour by time. Let's say you get paid by quantity. You're doing, I don't know, a number of jobs, and depending on certain jobs, certain quantities, that's how much you get paid. It's not necessarily based on time, but how many things you get done. Then you have a term called overtime. Okay, so that's a special rate. Outside normal working conditions. So let's say you have a full-time job, 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and all of a sudden there's some extra work that needs to be done urgently, or whatever the circumstances are. So it causes you to stay later than 5 o'clock, or it might ask you to get to work over the weekends. So that overtime, that's outside of what your normal working conditions are, would have a special rate in terms of payment. Okay, so some other important things that I'd like you to be mindful is knowing how to convert from cents to dollars. Okay, so in terms of currency, then also from seconds to minutes to hours, I'd like you to know what needs to be done. Okay, so you know that there are 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour, and then therefore going from seconds to an hour, you'd want to either multiply or divide by 3,600. Some other familiar conversions is hours, days, and weeks. So same thing, going from one to the other or across. You should know there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days in a week. Therefore, you should be able to calculate how many hours within the week, depending on the circumstances. Further time conversions is days, weeks, months, and years. Okay, so going from one to the other, but then jumping from one to the other and then going all the way across would be very, very helpful. All right. Now, this is where it's really important for you to understand, I guess, the pros and cons, whether you get paid by an hourly rate or a salary, annual figure. Whereas the annual figure usually is like, this is how much you get paid for the year. Whether you go overtime or not, that's if you spend extra hours, that's really your call. And then your job description basically kind of tells you, well, this is what you need to do in this time, and there's that aspect as well. Whereas if your hourly rate, it is the time that indicates how much you get paid in the end. So you could be really efficient, really quick. Obviously, you get paid less. Or you could really drag it out and then spend more time. But by then, maybe your employer doesn't want you because you're not really fast enough. So you need to really work out that balance in terms of your contract or your employment conditions, arrangements. you might want to see whether an hourly rate is going to be more beneficial to you, or whether a salary would be you would be better off with that. So here's an example. We've got one lady who gets 38 who works 38 hours per week. Okay, and she gets paid $32.26 per hour. On the other hand, we have another person, call her Michelle, and she gets a salary of $55,280 a year. Okay, so whether it's your first job and you got your foot in the door in the industry that you want to work in, you might be presented one or the other, and you go, wow, 55 grand, that's huge, and you might just go, bang, let's take that. Let's see what Min gets in a year if she works for $32.26. So we know that there's 38 hours per week, and there are 52 weeks in the year. So we're going to multiply 38 by 52, and for every hour she gets paid $32.26. Now, if you multiply those three, so this is just simple maths, we get $63,745.76. We're not going to worry about tax at this stage, okay? Everybody gets taxed, but in the end, obviously, Min gets a lot more, about at least $8,500 more throughout the year, compared to Michelle, who's going, well, forget about how much time you spend. You're just going to get this amount for the entire year. So which one would you take? You take the hourly rate. Okay. Now, here we have another situation. Let's say you get $62,000 a year for a 40-hour week. So then Monday to Friday, obviously that's just 8 hours per day because the weekends are off. So the question is, well, what is the hourly rate? Well, the hourly rate, what you're going to do, instead of multiplying right across, you're going to divide. So 62,000 divided by 52 weeks in the year, then divided by 5 days, okay? And then each day is 8 hours, okay? Or you could, because it's 40 hours, what you could do is you could just divide that by 40, okay? Simple as that. So then once you've done all that division in your calculator, you'll end up getting $29.80 per hour. All right. And this is where we move on to special rates, that overtime, okay, as an example. And so you have your standard hourly rates and rates of payment, but then you do get paid a little bit extra and an added bonus when you invest a little bit more of yourself. And this is probably sometimes a little bit tricky with certain jobs when they have more restricted conditions. But let's say we'll just go through a few examples here. So we've got a person who's a waitress. She gets paid $23.30 per hour. Okay, that's her standard rate. And in 1 week, she got paid for 30 hours, normal. So normal rate. And then, she also had, say, 3 hours of time and a half. So let's hypothetically say that, she worked on a Saturday time and a half, but then she had 5 hours, say double time, because she worked on a Sunday as well, okay? So that's basically, she worked every single day of the week, but she got paid a little bit more for Sunday, a little bit not quite as much, but a little bit extra still on a Saturday. But then the regular week on a Monday to Friday, she got paid a normal rate. So basically, what we're going to do is here is that we're going to have 30 times 23.3, and then we'll have 1.5, okay, 1.5 times 3 times her rate. Okay, or what you could do is you could say, well, what's 1.5 times $23.30? And she's worked 3 hours. Okay, and then the last one is, well, she got paid double time. So what is 2 times 5? Obviously, that's 10. And times her normal rate, which is, double rate, $23.30. And then she worked for 5 hours. It really doesn't matter which order you put these figures because you're multiplying them all across. So you'll end up getting normal pay is going to be $699. That's what she would get paid normally each week. But for the 3 extra hours for a Saturday, she gets paid $104.85. And to work on a Sunday, she gets paid $233. So that means the total is going to be the addition of these 3 figures, and that's going to be $1,036.85. That's a good week. So that's the I guess the basic overview of special rates, overtime, and obviously, you could look at, well, this is how much she got. She normally gets paid. Another week she gets paid a certain amount extra, and depending on what the details that you have, you can kind of deduce and eliminate to figure out what the overtime rate is. Okay, if you've got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video.